Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to this special unboxing and movie review. Tonight we're looking at Second Sight's release of It Follows, which is a sort of modern day sort of horror film. Really cool film. I got this for my birthday with my birthday vouchers, which was the beginning of October, and this is released on Second Sight. This is their collector's edition. I do have the normal Blu-ray, which my lad will inherit, so he's got a copy of the movie. He's a bit like me. He's not too worried about special editions or 4Ks of everything. As long as it's something, he's got a version of the movie, he's quite happy. But occasionally a movie you really like gets an upgrade. Now this is a movie I really like. So I'll just take off the cellophane. And here it is. It comes with one of those silly J cards, which we'll take off. Yeah, and the back is a little bit underwhelming, as to say the same. There we go. I would have rather them actually just kept the sort of J card as the back. Anyway, before we have a look at the contents, let's have a look, see what it says on the back, shall we? Okay, right, special features. Dual format edition includes both 4K and Blu-ray of the main feature and bonuses of features on both discs. New 4K master produced by Second Sight Films and the original post-production facility. Approved by director David Mitchell. UHD presentation in Dolby Vision HDR. New Atmos audio soundtrack. Second Sight Films new audio commentary from Joshua Grimm. Audio commentary by Danny Lee and Mark Yankovic. Chasing Ghosts, a new interview with actor Kerr Gilchrist. Following a new interview with actor Oliver Lucard. It's in a House, a new interview with producer David Kaplan. Composing a Masterpiece, a new interview with composer Rich Vreeland. A Girl's World, a new interview and production designer with Michael Perry. It Follows, an Architecture and Loneliness, a video essay by Joseph Wallace. The limited edition contains a rigid slipcase, new artwork, 150-page book, and which has new essays by Anne Bilston, Martin Corderio, Kat Illinger, Matt Glasby, Kat Hughes, Jenny Commode, Kate Riff, and 6 collector's art cards. Okay, not the greatest in special sort of special editions. No sort of documentaries that are sort of like written on there, unless that's just all the new stuff that's on there. There might be some documentaries on there, I don't know. But anyway, let's take the contents out of the box if we can. These are always quite tight. So here's your rigid box. Nice quality box. Smells really good. It's got that new smell. What's this? This is going to be your movies. It opens up to, of course, the discs are not sitting in its case. It opens up to the same picture that's on the back of the box. And there we go. We've got the Blu-ray and we've got the 4K edition of the film. And that can go back in the box. Here's the booklet. It is a hardback book, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It is a hardback book, which contains essays, like I told you in before, and sort of like behind scene photos and photos of in the film. the best thing about it is the smell. It's got that real new sort of book smell. So yeah, it's got a hell of a lot of reading to do on that one. It is pretty much a book to read, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I do like it when they do things like this. It's really cool. I just wish Second Sight also did with their releases a CD soundtrack. It would be amazing. It would be really cool. So the book can go back in there. It's cool. And we got art cards. So we'll have a look at them. We've got the cover. These are all sort of like art ones, not these sort of, these are all sort of like, I think, to do with the new box set. She has got clothes on, so I've not got to cover that one up. Again, for the third time. Oh, I like this one. It's a nice one. Pretty cool. And there's the last one. Really, really cool. They're quite dark, the art cards, but I quite like that. It gives it a very sort of dark feel, because the film is quite a dark film, to be honest. I'll tell you the synopsis of the film a bit when we get to do the film review. So that there, let me just pop these art cards back inside this box. So they're in there with everything else. So that is the unboxing of It Follows, 4K collector's edition from Second Sight. Another masterpiece of physical media, and as long as the film's good, it shall probably enter my top 10 physical media releases of this year, which I will be doing very shortly, because I'm not due to sort of like, I think, buy anything else this year. So that will probably go in there as long as it's a good transfer to film. So what I'm going to go and do now is watch the film and come back and do a little synopsis and review of the film. Well, we've watched the film. It takes it out of me, this film. It's quite exhausting in a way, because the story is quite... It's a horrible sort of story. And I'll explain it as we go on. The film sort of starts off... we're in like this neighbourhood which looks very much like Haddonfield. Again, a lot of these films do look like sort of Haddonfield, sort of Halloween sort of place. And we see this girl coming out pretty much in her kind of underwear and high heels, sort of running around the street. And you've got neighbours asking her, is she okay? Is she okay? She goes, yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine. And she's looking everywhere for something and looks very distraught. Even her dad comes to the street and says, are you all right, darling? You know, she goes, yeah, I'm fine, Dad, I'm fine. And then she sort of runs back, sort of like towards the house, and goes into the house. And her dad follows her in. And then we next see her, she comes running out again. And then she runs to her car. And she sort of drives off in her car to like I think it's a beach, to be honest. And we see her in the night in the sort of like the headlights of the car, sitting on this sort of sandy area, and she speaks to her dad on her phone, and she says to her dad, you know, I love you very much, Dad. I really love you, and I'm sorry for times that I've not been easy, or we've argued or fall out, but I really do love you, and all this sort of thing. Excuse me. And then she, excuse me, while she's looking at it, talking to him, she's looking at her car. We can't see nothing, but she obviously can. And, you know, she's like apologising, almost like, first of all, I thought it's a suicide, first of all, when I first saw the film. But then we see her in the morning, and she's dead on the beach, and her body's been broken in half, and her back legs are sort of being brought over to her top half, which is quite a horrendous thing to see. And then we cut to the next day of the film, and we bump into our main character. We now see her, and she's in her yard in this big sort of paddling pool. It's a big one though, not like the sort of rubbishy ones we get here. This one looks almost like a sort of like hot tub jacuzzi sort of big pool she can actually swim in, and she's in her pool just relaxing. And I've got to say, the music in this film is phenomenal. It's a very sort of 80s sounding soundtrack. The soundtrack is very similar to a lot of the music in the prequel film to Silence of the Lambs called Manhunter. It's got that sort of dark sort of synthesizer 80s sort of style tone to it. This film does have a bit of a sort of 80s sort of feel to it at some point. Anyway, she's at home with her friends, and they're all sitting around watching some sort of old movie on the telly, and they've asked her, do you not want to come watch a movie? She goes, no, she's going out on a date. And we sort of see her friends, they're all sort of chatting, they're having a laugh and having a joke, and sort of like one of them farts and they're having a bit of a laugh about it. And she goes upstairs and starts getting ready for going out on her date. And we see her like in her room. Again, it's really beautifully shot. It's an amazing shot film. It's really, really awesome. And she gets ready for a date. And then we see her like at the ventures out with her boyfriend at the cinema. And they're queuing up outside. And when they're queuing up outside, she suggests a game for them to play while they're there. And it's like he has to look around at all the people there and choose someone that he would like to be, whose life he'd like to be. And she needs to discover who it is. That she gets 2 chances to choose out which person he's chosen and why he's chosen him. So she sort of like, they decide to play this game. And then we see them queuing up inside at the cinema. I'm sure it's a cinema. It's a bit weird because they've got like an old sort of organ playing, which is actually really cool. I like that. And they're in the queue, and she has a guess at this guy who's kissing this sort of sexy lady on the stairs, and he goes, no. And he goes, okay, who's it you chose? And she goes, that little boy. He goes, because how cool must it be to have your whole life ahead of you? And so, and so they sort of like have a discussion about it, and he's gone on, oh yeah, you can go to the toilet when you want, because he's probably wearing a nappy or whatever. But yeah, and then we see them in the actual auditorium in the cinema, sitting down to watch whatever they're going to watch. And they've still got this organ music playing. And they sort of like, she then sort of discusses to them, it's her turn. So she has a look around. And he goes, yeah, I've decided who it is now. And he has to have a look to see who it is. He goes, oh, easy, it's that woman up there in the dress. And she looks behind and goes, what woman in the dress? He goes, the one by the exit. Well, I don't know why I'm looking round. And he goes, there's no one there. And there is no one there. We can't see anyone. And that freaks him out, and he wants to leave. And he asks, can we go? Before we've seen the film, I need to go. So they exit. And they're walking away from the cinema, and he tells her that he was feeling quite sick inside and stuff like that. He just wanted to leave. She thought he'd seen an old girlfriend or something, and she goes, no, I just didn't want to be in there. Because at this point, we don't really know what's sort of going on. And so they've exited, and that's sort of like then we sort of see them going out for something to eat, and they're having something to eat to sort of end the date off, which has been a bit of a disaster. And then we see the next day, we see her walking through Haddonfield streets again with her friend or sister, whoever it is, telling them about how weird the date was and how weird he sort of behaved. And her sister sort of like sees a guy over the street that she likes and waves at him, sort of thing. And again, we've got this amazing sort of music playing in the background. When you watch this film, you have to watch it wearing headphones or have a really good sound system to really enjoy and to get the impact of the sound of this film. And so she was explaining to him how worried she was about him and about how strange he was acting. And then we see them. She's back out on the next night with another date with him, and you can see the amazing darks and that in the film. Even at night time, it looks superb. It's really, really wonderfully shot. Wonderfully shot. And they're sitting on, I think, the sort of beach again, and they're sort of having a chin wag and a kiss, and she invites him, let's go back to your car. So they go back to the car and they start making out. So that's where we get that sort of image from. Okay, so they start making out in the car, and so she obviously made love with him. And when they finished, he gets out the car and he goes round the back of the car to his boot and opens it. And she's sort of leaning out of her car, and we see her leaning out of her car, and she's sort of chatting away about her sort of dreams and how she never thought she'd be, you know, one day sort of here sort of thing. And she's talking to him about this. Again, it's so beautifully shot and looks wonderful. And the music and stuff, it just reminds me of a sort of 80s sort of style sort of film. And it's absolutely incredibly amazing looking. And I see so many influences when I watch it. Anyway, while she's chatting away, he comes back in behind her in the car, and he's put some chloroform or whatever onto this rag, and he holds it over her mouth to make her unconscious. So that sort of knocks her out, and she's laying there in the car sort of unconscious, and you see her hand drop. When I first saw it, I thought he's killed her, you know, but I didn't know. But then they go to this disused sort of multi-story car park or disused sort of building, and we see her tied up to a chair in her underwear, and she's strapped to this chair. She's not been gagged, but she's strapped to this chair, and he's still there with her. And this is where he explains what's going to happen to her. There's this curse. Now, this is where I think the film's a little bit of a witchcraft sort of film, because there's a curse. Now, most curses have been put on by witches, so I believe it could be a witchcraft film. So he explains this curse to her. And the curse is, if he's been cursed because he's being followed by somebody or something, and this somebody can be anyone. It can be someone you know, someone you don't know, and they're following you. And if they catch you, you get killed, you die. And he's caught this curse by having sex with someone. So now he's passed that curse onto her, because she's had sex with him. And so now she's got the curse, and she's going to see this person following her. And this person can be not look the same every time. It can look different every time, but it'll be someone obvious that's sort of focused on them and following them wherever they go. So, and if they catch up with you, you're going to get killed by them, like the girl on the beach. And the only way she can get rid of the curse now is to find someone to have sex with. So is she going to find someone to have sex with, or is she going to succumb to this curse? That's all I'm going to tell you, because that's where the film sort of leads, where she starts seeing this thing following her, and her friends are trying to protect her and help her through it, and you need to find out what happens. So what do I think of It Follows? It's an amazing film. It's such a great horror film, really underrated sort of horror film in my humble opinion. When I say underrated, I just think it gets overlooked by quite a few people, and quite a few people dismiss it because it is a little bit of a slow burn sort of film. If you like films like Smile or Hereditary, you're probably like this. But it's really, really spooky and scary. And there's a few jump scares in there, and you get so attached to these characters in this film, not just her but her friends, and you just don't want anything bad to happen to them. I mean, the one of the guys that you see on the earlier in the house with the others is such a sweet lad, and he wants to help her, and he wants to have sex with her so he can take the curse from us. All this sort of thing happens, and it's such a wonderful horror film, and such a unique horror film with a unique sort of storyline. And I was absolutely gripped when I first saw it, and I was gripped again when I saw it again tonight. Now, the pluses of this transfer, the 4K is phenomenal. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely amazing. It's sharp, it's warm, it's very dark, but still very warm, and it's absolutely... It wowed me, and the sound was absolutely amazing. The soundtrack is fantastic. It's such a good soundtrack. As I've just told you, it's a fantastic story. It's a great original horror film. That's why I loved it. That's why I love things like Smile, because it's a different sort of story, and this is different, and it's really, really cool. Well acted, really well acted. Really convincing. These characters are really convincing for a young cast. It's really convincing for these sort of teens to act so well. Absolutely brilliant. The negative is they need a second one. We need It Follows 2, because it does leave you open to maybe have another one, and I just think it's crying out for a sequel. It really is, and I would love to see one, but that's no problem. It'd be just really good if they did one. So I'm going to score the film an amazing watch and give it a 9 out of 10. It's not a 10 out of 10 film for me. Although it's incredible and it's one of my favourite modern horror films, there's something in it that just lacks. When I score a film a 10 out of 10, it's because it hits every single bar that I love in a horror film. Jump scares, good story, gore, impact. It's got to have impact on me, it's got to really impact me, like, whoa, and this kept me gripped, but I wasn't impacted by it, if you know what I mean. Oh, it sounds really bad, impacted. You know exactly what I mean. It didn't have that sort of wow impact with me. That thought, wow, that just blew me socks off. But maybe it's just because I've seen it before, I don't know, but I still think 9 out of 10 is a great score. Brilliant release from Second Sight. They've knocked it out of the woods again. Well done, excellent. Because when I was looking, because lack of special features on the actual disc, I thought this is going to be an 8 out of 10 score. It would have to be really, or even a 7 out of 10, but it's got to blow my mind when I watch it again, and it did. So it's that good. It looks that cool. It Follows, 9 out of 10. Any of you guys seen it? If you have, let me know down below what you think of it. I've seen this film 2 or 3 times now, and it still leaves me exhausted emotionally afterwards, because you just fear for these people, and the people that follow them are quite, it freaked me out, and it makes me thinking, when I watch people sometimes, and I think, are they following me? You know what I mean? And it left me like that, a bit like when I saw The Blair Witch at the cinema. I heard noises in the woods at night behind my house, and I thought, oh my God, it had that sort of impact on me. This one had that sort of it does exhaust you, because you just want the characters to survive. But like I said, it didn't have that sort of impact those other films did. Like, I don't think people are following me or anything like that, or but it is a fantastic film. Please check it out. And there you go, guys. There's the unboxing and review of It Follows. Please check out some horror channels for me before my next video. Check out Horror Hands, The Horror Geek, Man v Film, RS Designs, Pizzawell, I'm the Ice Lord, Cat Watches Horror Movies, and a massive shout out to my lad. Hope you're doing well, mate. I'll be seeing you in a few weeks. Anyway, or actually you might be with me now when this review comes out. But anyway, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I'll see you all soon.